I don't know. I'm hot about it.
The Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow aren't in.
Yes.
So you got to do it now take?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm hot about it.
I've liked Owen's take on this, which leads me to kind of think about whenever someone says, I think even Sal said this yesterday, like there's no pressure on the Jags because first-year coach or whatever. And I get that.
House money.
Right, and like in some ways, like no one's going to be mad at the Jaguars if they lose this game. All right, like even their own fans might feel like, all right, good first step. Golf clap of a season.
Patriots have that life right now too, right?
Yeah. I feel like you've got more pressure because I don't know that you're going to be back here. The same way I feel like the Bills are probably going to be back here. Denver, I definitely feel that way about. Like, you got to do it now.
Well, Denver's got the 1 seed, but the idea that
But they also have a quarterback that I think is maybe not that great.
Fine.
Houston, like, do it now. All these teams, like, if that is the take and these are the guys you're worried about, all of the teams without Allen, Burrow, Jackson, Mahomes, you better do it this year because this year you might only have to beat one of them, and then in the next couple of years you might have to beat 4 of them, or 3 of them, or 2 of them.
Even that. Are these 4 entitled to playoff spots? Because apparently not. The thing I would say
it takes injuries, except for Mahomes.
Mahomes
Didn't take injury. Mahomes didn't take injury.
Okay, how about last year with Burrow?
Last year?
Yeah.
He missed a bunch of games,
Not
didn't he?
Not that many. They just were terrible defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar? Okay. The Bills have beaten him twice in the playoffs.
Right.
These 3 mythical figures that, can you believe they're not? Tua made the playoffs last year. In the last 2 years, Tua made the playoffs.
But he didn't do anything when he got there.
He's got a longer playoff streak than Burrow. Like this idea that we have to treat these other 3, these guys are not in. I kind of did not expect this. Like during the regular season, fine. But I don't know, shouldn't every team that's not the Bills be using bulletin board material? But like they think that the only teams that are good are the guys that have missed. This is not the NCAA tournament where it's Kansas and 63 12 seeds.
Uh-huh.
This is not what the field is. There's a reason that North Carolina, in finger quotes, missed the tournament. They weren't that good. You know what the Chiefs were in, like, EPA per play offensively this year? In the 20s.
Yeah.
They weren't good.
That's surprising. Weren't they, pretty high middle of the season?
It might have been something that dropped considerably once they lost to Tennessee and Vegas.
We're counting the Oladukin games in there, too.
Team sport, baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, good morning. Happy Thursday. 803-0550 is our phone number, 1-888-550-2550. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. I feel like every time I'm seeing, which, Instagram, all your social media feeds feeding you the stuff that is both good and bad for you, like golf lessons. My Instagram, of course, it's not quite golf lessons now. It's parenting advice because, golf's out of season. Anyway, I feel like every time I see Nick Wright scream that there's so much pressure, I wonder to myself, how many times do you have to say it before you actually believe it? Do people feel like, man, a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure in this game. I feel like the Bills don't have pressure until they get to a game of consequence. I know it's do or die and it's the opening round, but if they were to get to the AFC Championship game and pick anybody you want. The Chargers in the miracle scenario where it comes back here, that's a lot of pressure. Like, now you got to win.
Yeah.
You are home, you're favored, you are 1 game away from the place you've never been to. If you get to the Super Bowl, will you be an underdog against the Rams?
Yes.
An underdog against the Seahawks?
Yes.
I don't know. The entire sport only exists for quarterbacks. I know how this works now. So, like, the whole conversation to me, Joe, is just relentless trying to convince everyone that the Bills are bound by pressure. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's my own feeling that they're going to win, or maybe it's my own feeling about, like, your point about how everybody's going to be back. Like, well, Josh is not going to age out. I don't think anybody would make a case their window's going to close. Who's the most important player that could potentially leave? This is not the closing of the Poyer, Hyde, Diggs window. Nobody all that important would you think would leave? Milano. Is Milano the best player that would leave? Is it Taron Johnson? Like, they're not at the end of some sort of spot here. And I know, like, every year matters, and I'm sure I'll get around to every year mattering, but, man, the idea, it feels like everyone is trying to create pressure on the Bills this year because they lack Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow to talk about. Like, you know what we got to do? We got to put all of the quarterback takes from those 4 guys, we're going to have to put them on one guy. We can't yell at Bo Nix if he loses.
He's Thanos now with all the Infinity Stones.
Yes, we have to yell at him because, you know, let's be real. If Drake May loses, no one's going to say, like, oh, he's not that good. It was his first ever playoffs.
Right.
If Trevor Lawrence loses, he doesn't move the needle. It's like the entire weight of all 4 quarterbacks who need to win. For Mahomes, he's got to win to chase down Brady. For Burrow, he's got to do it to chase Mahomes. Jackson's got to get one. Allen's got to get one. All right, all 4 of them. There's only one of those guys in. You know what we're going to do? Focus all our powers on one. Him. Mm-hmm. He's the one that has the pressure of 4 quarterbacks.
Well, that's where I would look at the Bills and want to defend the idea or go against the idea that he should have all that pressure on him because of the field when I don't think this is the best version of the Bills. If it was the best version of the Bills and Keon Coleman had been A.J. Brown and they had nailed a bunch of other picks on defense, like just they were loaded with talent all over the place and they didn't have flaws and they had a receiving game, then I would go into this playoffs thinking, all right, yeah, you got to do it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how, even though they're here and those other teams aren't, I don't know how different the Bills are from Cincinnati, Baltimore, Kansas City, who you would all say that's the worst form of those 3 teams. All right, like the Bengals maybe have just been that now. Like their defense is terrible and their line is terrible, and it's really hard for Burrow. And it's really hard for them right now with their roster to compete for championships. And even Jackson this year, it's like the injuries all around the roster. They were missing Roquan Smith. They were missing Kyle Hamilton. They had line problems. Mahomes, we know that was the worst version of the Chiefs that we saw. This isn't the worst version of the Bills we've seen with Allen. Like, and that's where I would get to more pressure on the other teams is, are you going to count on these 4 teams with these 4 quarterbacks to always be this poor around them? Because I wouldn't. Maybe not all of them will get it together. I'm not sure Cincinnati ever will with Burrow as their quarterback. But, like, I'm going to count on the Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens not to get better. Because right now, I feel like, hey, Jacksonville, this is about as good as you can get, maybe, with this quarterback. It might be. Bo Nix and the Broncos, this might be as good as you can be. Whereas this is not as good as the Bills can be. When that quarterback is under center, your sky is the limit. And I would say the same thing about the Chiefs and the Ravens. So if that's true and all these other teams are peaking, I would not put New England in that boat, and I probably wouldn't put the Chargers in that boat. But the rest of them, like, now it's go time. Because this version of Allen is not the best version. The best version that would be surrounded by, you know, whoever the next Diggs would be.
Yeah. How about we boil it down to this? Are we sure they're not better than last year? Are they not better than last year's team? Last year's team is this year's team with a bunch of takeaways and no turnovers.
And more James Cook carries.
Right?
A lot more.
More carries for Cook, but not as efficient? Or are you saying this year's?
No, would we have to say this year? I mean, he did win the rushing title. He had 102 more carries this year.
So,
like a massive amount. And actually, his yards per carry went up by 0.3.
This year's team runs the ball better with James Cook.
Yeah.
And what do they do worse? They don't get as many turnovers.
They don't, and they turn the ball over more.
They turn it over more, and they give up sacks.
Right.
But in terms of just this year's team plays last year's team, who wins? Does last year's team win because they turn the ball over because this team turns it over?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that they're not better. They're a lot better at safety. They're a lot better. They're a lot better at corner.
That's true.
I mean, going in, like if I take final form, like Benford can be a wash, but my second corner position, if I'm healthy, is what Hairston / Trey White. Is that better than Rasul Douglas? I think it might be.
Right.
Is their defensive line better than last year? Is it a push? Joey Bosa is better than anybody they had last year.
Yeah, true. Right. Epinesa was one spot higher in the pecking order.
Yeah. So
and last year also they actually were pretty good, low-key, at stopping the run last year, but they were horrible against the pass. This year, I flipped that, and I would rather. I'd
rather be that.
Yeah, I'd rather be.
I'd definitely rather be better against the pass than I am against the run. Anyway,
it is close though, isn't it?
Sure.
Like even if we might pick last year, or if we would pick this year, I think that point is probably right. But they're definitely not what they were the 3 years before that. Right? They're not the 13. Would this team beat the 13 seconds team? I think they get hammered.
I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. They are. Here's the other thing.
And that's where I would want to look at, you got pressure to beat the Bills now, because what if they got back to a team like that just will throw it all over you, and defensively gets back to like really stout all the way around. Like they had a couple defenses in there that were like top 5 in the NFL, and they haven't been near that. Even if they've been better this year,
right,
patchworking it together with whoever they can do it with, they have not been a top 5 defense. They've not been Denver or Houston,
right,
for years.
That's right. But
if they someday get back to that with Allen as their quarterback, like that's a more terrifying version of the Bills.
Sure. When they're at their best, they're good stopping the pass, and they are kind of good at that right now. We'll see if that holds up against Jacksonville. 803-0550, the number. Let's get your thoughts on this. Are you out there buying the relentless talking point that there is more pressure on the Bills because of the teams that are not in the playoffs? Do you feel it? Do you feel more pressure for them? And if you want to maybe compare this year to last year's team, I think that might be in here. I hear a lot of, and I'm not really to push too hard back on it, that this version of the Bills might be one of the weaker versions of the Bills to go into the postseason. Now, of course, they could win the Super Bowl with this version, or they could be one and done. And maybe that's what's different right now, is every other year in the last 5 years in this spot, we treat this game as a formality. Like, all right, he's going to get Skylar Thompson out of the way, and let's move along to the second round against whoever's the second round. Or
Rudolph,
Mac Jones, or Mason Rudolph. Yeah. Right. Beat the tomato can in front of you that's the underdog in your house. And this is, a quality opponent that they're going to have to go and find a way to beat. But, more pressure. Who should feel it? Who should actually feel Who should feel pressure?
Well, if you want to make it about the quarterbacks, wouldn't inherently the pressure have to be on McDermott? Because
he doesn't have to stop those guys?
No, but he does. Well, right. He doesn't have to stop those guys, so you don't have an excuse. You don't have an excuse to let somebody go, throw all over you, or just defensively, whatever. Like if you let up a big game defensively, it's no longer just, you can't stop Mahomes. Now it becomes more of an overall arching playoff point. So McDermott, maybe?
Maybe. The thing about that is...
I just wouldn't say it about Allen.
I wouldn't say... No, I don't think Allen should... Allen might feel pressure in games because he might feel like he has to make plays and has to make something happen. If they're shutting down James Cook in the run game,
right,
will Allen feel an added incentive or pressure to do more? Yesterday at Media Day, he talked about how Joe Brady had him do some self-scouting and how he could see how many plays he left out on the field and take some easy button throws, take some, shorter throws that are available, keep things moving along. And when they get kind of out of sync, it sometimes is because he passes those up for bigger shots down the field. So maybe in-game Allen feels pressure, but, man, just the idea that he's going to lose sleep tonight going into Jacksonville, he's played in some pretty big games, and he's played pretty well in some pretty big games. And I guess maybe that's why this whole conversation to me is this isn't Lamar. Oh, buddy, if Lamar were in the playoffs with no Allen or Mahomes, that I would buy more. That's a guy that has not performed in the playoffs the level that he does in the regular season.
Right.
And then I would say, oh, man, look, you just don't throw up on yourself, and you're not going to run into one of the guys that always wins and always beats you.
Right.
Lamar has losses to Allen and Mahomes in the playoffs. Allen twice and Mahomes once. For Allen, he doesn't mount in the playoffs. So maybe that's the root of why I'm pushing back on it, and I just don't have much time. I mean, I've got time for it. We're going to talk about it for a while today. But
right.
I mean, I'm just flummoxed. Everybody keeps talking about all this pressure on Josh Allen. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think it will go away the moment if they don't win it, then what's going to happen next year? Are they going to be the AFC favorite again?
Maybe.
In the offseason, they'll be right back to talking about them as, one of the contenders.
And if they get knocked out, if they lose, who will be blamed? If Allen plays poorly, who will be blamed?
Well, I'm wondering, we've done a lot of if they lose this week, but I get why. If that happened, if he played poorly, but what does it look like? Does it look like the Houston game or the Atlanta game where he's running for his life and nobody's getting open down the field? Because
the Eagles game. Make it the Eagles game, which they lost by a point.
Well, the Eagles game is different. The Eagles game, I think, if he's just throwing up on himself, which I think he kind of did in that Philadelphia game,
Fair.
then that's different. Then if people come after him, I'll feel like he kind of earned that. If he missed a throw to win the game at the end, like I don't know how you escape blowback from if that happened in a playoff game.
If it's the Atlanta game,
I'm going to want to defend him. I'm going to want to say, and I'm sure there would be a million people out there. What did he have in the Atlanta game? Did he have 150 yards? Against Atlanta, he had 15 of 26, 180, two touchdowns, 2 picks.
Yeah, and one of those picks was the last play of the game on trying to make something happen.
But he didn't really do much in that game. Less than 200 yards passing, and they needed it. If he has that game and he's getting hit and no one's getting open for him down the field, I'm going to want to defend him all offseason and say, yeah, you could say Allen was bad in that game and didn't perform up to his standard, and I'll tell you it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
He didn't have receivers.
I mean, I tend to think many of us get to, and I do this a lot, if he doesn't play well, sure, he has responsibility in that, but I do feel like the system around him, the ecosystem around him is at least, maybe not to blame, but is definitely a factor. People will come for the OC, people will come for the GM, people will come for the coach, people will come for the left tackle if he gives up a sack to Josh Hines Allen or something. Whatever. Maybe it's just because it's the playoffs and we're starting to ramp up. Maybe we do this every year. We kind of forget about it. But the pressure point, how much pressure do you feel like the Bills are under? They are road favorites. They will have to win 3 road games in a row. They have not been great on the road in the playoffs. They've only played, a couple. Mostly it's Kansas City.
Since Allen got great, it's only Kansas City.
Yeah, it's Kansas City and Houston, a game that they had a big lead and blew. And every time you watch that game, I can't believe that they lost it. But even on the road this year, they've lost to teams they probably shouldn't have lost to. You feel like if they were a better team, they might have finished the job. I just think that it's a little overblown. And maybe on Monday, if they lose, which I don't think they will, but if we come in Monday and we're like, are they going to lose because of pressure?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe pressure on the passer, maybe. But, man, I don't buy it.
Well,
I don't buy it, this idea that they're under more pressure because of the teams that are not in there.
Would that be the storyline if we get one of those sugar high Josh games? He doesn't do that all. I mean, he has not done that in the playoffs, I don't think, since the Houston game. Did he have a couple of those this year?
He had some this year.
Where he feels like he's got to do everything. I think the Philadelphia game a couple of times he felt like he had to do everything. But then there are these other games where he does do everything, right? And we talked about his stats against the other top quarterbacks on the other side.
Bucks,
yeah,
right.
Sometimes when he feels like I have to do everything, he just goes out and he does it. But if he's running around and he's what's the craziest thing he could do? I don't think he's going to. He could lateral a football. Didn't he think about it?
Can I give it to you?
He thought about it against the Ravens last year,
That's
didn't
right.
he? He almost did. If he does something like that, then everybody is going to apply that exact phrase to Allen after the game, which is, he was feeling the pressure.
If he takes one of those turn backwards 17-yard sacks.
Okay,
let me tell you this. Here's a fun game to play with. Put it in your group chat.
Yeah.
Someone from the future comes in and says to you, I've seen this game. I'll tell you one thing about this game.
Yeah. Josh
Josh Allen will take a 19-yard sack turning backwards trying to make something happen. Did they win the game? Those have come in some games they win, some games they lose, but
actually it's funny, the one time he pulled it off. You remember the game he pulled it off in?
Yes, hold on. He finds Curtis Samuel in the middle of the field against
Miami.
Okay, here.
It was right in front
Buffalo.
of me. No. He did that in Miami.
Well, they lost in Miami.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
He did it in Miami. He was right in front of me. But that's kind of how that game was going.
Right.
So even though he pulled that play off, how was that game going?
Not too well.
Right. So maybe if he just does it at all, bad sign.
That's what I'm saying.
Where he gets to the sideline and he goes, and he just spins around and he starts running the other way.
And he's turning away from Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen. I tell you right now, there will be a 16-yard sack in the game. What's the spread now? What'd you pick?
Jags -3.
Right.
It's worth a point and a half, I think.
803-0550. All right, Sal coming up at 7. We've got Mark Long of the Associated Press at 8, who covers the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll talk to him about the Jags and where they are in this matchup and coming into this game. I have heard the term house money. In the course of booking Mark Long, reached out to another Jags writer who has since retired. So Along the way, I'm like trying to find somebody from the Jags, and 44 years at the Florida Times Sun Union. I got a guy that was retired, and so like, all right, well, in that case, you want to just give me a pick? And his pick was Jags. They're playing with house money. That's Gene Fournette, who's since retired.
House money.
And that's kind of what you said. Like, the Jags might not feel pressure because house money, first-year head coach. Like, what are we worried about? We'll be back. Rick in Lakeview. Hey, Rick, good morning.
Good morning. Looking at this, I guess I pressure as a fan, and I don't know, as a team, I don't really feel it because there's an also equally tempered lack of expectation on the other side. You're just talking about, Josh and 17-yard sacks. It's happening in real time, and I think part of the trepidation, those 17-yard sacks used to turn into something amazing. I mean, I know it's because maybe a receiver can't get open, but it's like you're looking at Josh now at 29, soon to be 30, and his Madden rating went from 99 to 94. Is it bad enough? Did it slip? But those toenail, they're starting to happen now where it didn't happen. My biggest fear, and it goes back to special teams, and I haven't really heard anybody talk about how incredibly important special teams is, and it's just not punting and kicking field goals. Number one, we don't have a field goal kicker, which caused the loss in the Philadelphia game. But if we don't have someone who could place the kickoff and you boot it into the end zone, the Jacksonville Jaguars, every possession, are one first down away from a field goal attempt.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
And it's true. Now, is this kid going to be – we saw what happened to a rookie kicker, for Baltimore, who had a great season. But without – if it's not, the punter has to – if they can't place it and they're just putting it down there, I mean, to make Jacksonville start inside their 20 instead of the 30 or 35 is going to be huge. And I don't like with Prater saying, well, I think I can go. That's a bigger worry than I have, I think, because Josh can be Josh, and I'm loving that.
Yeah, thanks, Rick, for the phone call. The kicker point is, I mean, it's right. It's also funny. Like, Cam Little has 2 kicks of 67 yards or more, right?
Mm-hmm. And he has a 67-yarder and a 68-yarder in the regular season.
No one in the NFL has ever made one that far. He has 2.
And he made a 70-yard field goal in the preseason.
Yeah.
So that's his range. If he lines up from 70, he could make it.
Right.
He did it in the preseason. And preseason pledge, whatever, like, kicking is the one thing that might carry over that feels real.
Yep, and it's not like he's in a tough environment. It's going to be beautiful, sunny Florida, North Florida.
Right. Also, Washington, we've talked a lot about Parker Washington on offense. I think he has the most punt return touchdowns in the league the last 2 years. He had two this year. He doesn't return kicks, I don't think, like the caller was mentioning, but he is very dangerous on punt returns.
I feel like the Bills' special teams have been pretty good this year. Kick returns have been pretty good.
Yeah.
One quick stat, not to open up an old wound, but I just wanted to look this up. How far was Harrison Butker's kick from 40 or in the 13 seconds? 49 yards. So if it's 13 seconds all over again, they actually only need 1 pass. Like, you don't need 2.
What was the Bass miss against the Chiefs? 45?
Maybe.
It was like mid-40s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sounds right. I don't remember because as soon as he walked on the field, I thought the game was over.
I'll be very worried if they put Prater in.
He said yesterday it just kind of tightened up in the cold.
Uh-huh.
So he's optimistic about playing where it's warm.
I'm still afraid of it.
You're right.
I'm still afraid of it.
Understandably. 803-0550, 1-888-550-2550 to join us. Jeremy and Joe, happy Thursday.